You are on the streets of the Rock of Brawl. You are waiting outside the Clover. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. Basically, waiting for it to open so that you can meet your parents.
that's right.
Okay, great. Okay. So you're there. You're like awake, half dozing. You've been mugged for your jacket. You have nothing on you.
Yeah.
You're just like absolutely spare parts. Around about as violet bleeds into red, um, and you are, to be clear, the only one who can distinguish the shades of color of the time of day, as it were. Everybody else is just going to be guessing, basically. Um, as violet bleeds into red, you see a water and air elemental float down the city street. The air elemental kind of preceding the water elemental, picking up all of the disparate refuse in the street. It washes over you and it kind of ruffles your hair and clothes and whatnot. And then the water elemental kind of zigzags along the streets, just cleaning everything. It douses you as you're sitting there outside the Clover. And now you look a bit like a drowned rat. You're just super down and out. Uh, not anything to your name, and you've been cleansed by the regular elementals clearing the streets. Um, and you semi doze for a little bit before the Clover opens, and yeah, so you see a gentleman walk up to the door, kind of look at you askance, unlocks it, heads in. About 10 minutes later or so, the front door of the Clover unlocks.
All right. What time is it right now?
It is red 2, so it's about an hour, half hour until you're supposed to meet your parents.
All right. I don't think I'm going to go in just yet because I think I'd be barred from the establishment.
Okay. So you're gonna wait for your parents to show up?
Yes. Think if there's anything that should be done. I'm pretty wet, and in an hour I can dry off
You
a
do dry
bit,
off, yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah, it's not too unpleasant.
now prestidigitation. Can I sort of
Oh,
prestidigitate
yeah.
like a little blow dryer
Yeah,
kind of thing? And
100%. Yeah. Prestidigitation, you're able to clean yourself up, spiffify yourself, get yourself nice and dry, and back to the way you were, at least before. You still don't have
for the
your
street
jacket. You're
sweeper.
just, yeah, exactly. You're pretty minimal attire, but other than that, yeah, you look pretty put together.
All right. How much time do I have left before they arrive? How
About
long
a
did I
half
spend
hour.
doing this?
Yeah,
All right.
about a half hour.
Now I'm going to walk in.
Okay, great. You head into the Clover. You have been here numerous times with your parents. Um, it's a pretty large single room, a bunch of little tables scattered around. There's maitre d in a kind of suit, very done up sort of looking. He kind of looks down at you as you walk in. Hello, sir. Do you have an appointment?
It may be my parents' appointment, Maximilian and Daphne. I'm meeting them here in about a half an hour.
He looks down at a register in front of him, and he nods, escorts you to a table, sets you down. A server comes around, asks for your order. You gonna order anything right now while you're waiting?
Um, just a glass of water for the
Okay.
time being.
Yeah. Yeah, you're strewn out. You have been up all night. You have cast all of your spell slots. You are just at the end of your energy at this time. A few minutes after you sit down, you're the only person in the place, the only customer in here. There's a maitre d' and a server. An elf, kind of diminutive elf, walks in, has a little bit of a conversation with the maitre d', and then she glances around and clocks you, and you see uh, this person whom you encountered yesterday, and you recognize by her crown as Ilithriorax, the leader of the Rock of Brawl. She smiles at you very gently, very warmly, and she has a whispered conversation with Maitre d', and he leads her over to your table. She gestures at a chair opposite you and says, "May I join you, sir?"
All right, I stand up, I walk over, and I pull out the chair for her. Of course, it's an honor, and I say this in Elvish.
Ah, nice. She smiles at you, and just you feel like you're the most important person in the room as she does so. She sits, um, and the server comes over. The server says, "The usual, madame," and she just sort of nods at the server, looks at you, gestures. "Would you like anything, good Belloryn?"
If you have anything you would like to suggest, I would be most honored.
She turns to the server and speaks to him in Elven and asks him to get you a cocktail with which you are unfamiliar. And then she just sits there with this kind of pleasant smile on her face, just like regarding you, just like, hey. Doesn't say anything, just sits there smiling.
Would it be fair for me to assume that anything that happens here on the Rock of Brawl you are familiar with?
Liffy kind of smiles a little just like kind of coy and coquettish, and just like a little bit of a shrug, says, "Oh, of course. Was it a Medusa?"
Uh, Cockatrice,
uh
I
she
think.
she
And now, do I know what that was? I may just be passing familiar from
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
Okay,
definitely passing familiar with school. Yeah, it was a bird turning things to stone.
yeah,
Yeah, 1+1, definitely cockatrice. She kind of says, "Ah, yes."
yeah. Weird experience. A friend of mine went to speak to the Cathay many years ago, and I'm not sure yet, but he might be coming back to himself. There's a chance.
She nods. The server comes, delivers your drinks. He has a champagne flute with a orange colored liquid for her, and a mug of a red colored liquid for you. She nods at the server, says, "Thank you, Roger." Grabs her champagne flute, raises it to you, and takes a little bit
Cheers
of sip.
and sip.
Yeah, this is a wonderful, restorative, healing sort of energy perfuses you. Are you still injured, or are you injured at all?
I'm not injured. I'm just sapped of spell slots.
Okay. Yeah, as it infuses you, you feel just like some scrapes and cuts that you've encountered throughout the day, just healing up, and you feel yourself refreshed in that regard. Um, Lithy smiles at you and says, I don't want to know what it told you, and I don't think you should tell anybody else what it told you.
I think without telling you anything, I think the things it told me are true, and I think I should disregard them.
She kind of gives you a little bit of a smile and nods. You are surprisingly wise, Belloryn.
It's a new experience. It I didn't feel this way 24 hours ago.
Well, I wish that Mab had never brought that thing here, but she did. You should know your father and mother are necessary to the ecology of this place. And I don't want you to do anything rash when it comes to them.
I I don't think that I have it in me to harm either of them, but I think the ecology of the rock can withstand a little loving opposition to what they do. I can't agree with it. I'm not going to judge it too harshly, but I believe sentient things have the right to be free if they wish.
She kind of gives you a nod, raises the glass, kind of looks at you a moment later, just kind of twirling the champagne flute, has a little bit of a sip. She finally downs the whole thing and sets it down, says, I can't help you. Just as a smith would not sacrifice a blade that was being forged if it had a crack in it, I and others like me can only do so much. But I would, Belloryn, like to give you a kiss.
All right.
She smiles and stands up, all 5'1" of her, and walks over to your side of the table and kind of leans over and gives you a kiss. The kiss starts off very, very gentle and then deepens. And as it does, a rush of energy explodes into Belloryn. As your eyes are closed, you see lights flash over the blackness of your mind. She stops the kiss and moves away. Your eyes open and you don't see anything. You just see these colorful bursts across your vision. And there is an energy feeding through your body and electrifying every nerve. It's not unpleasant, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
And after a moment, your vision clears, Lithorax is gone, and you feel infused with this energy, and you have gained a level,
Hey.
which we can resolve before the game later, depending on what transpires.
Cool.
Another little bit of time passes, and The door opens and you see your mother walk in, Daphne. She speaks with the maitre d', who leads her directly to your table. She gestures at the chair and then sits down, kind of leans back in the chair, crosses her legs. Well, 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 here we are, Belloryn.
Now, is Red morning?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Mother.
We tried, and we're still trying to do what's best for you, Belloryn. What can we say? What do you need?
The most important thing that I need to make sure that you know is that being disinherited, being at odds in any way doesn't make me any less your son. And it is not my intention to do harm at all. But everything I have learned and everything I have done until now has made it an imperative to me to see that freedom is upheld. And if that puts us at odds, so be it. But I have no desire to harm you or father or your living. But I do feel an obligation to gently oppose it if the opportunity suits. And perhaps it never will. But my main concerns are that my friends are safe and that we can depart here in peace, and that if we do return to the rock, it is only as guests looking to buy and sell, and hopefully we won't have to be in direct opposition to one another. But these things you have done for me, the things I believe are the sum total of these things you have done for me. And maybe they didn't turn out the way you wanted them to, but it's how it turned out. I am the child you raised. I am the child you paid for his education. And yes, some of the decisions I made were in opposition to that, but you seem to have raised that too.
She has a little bit of a sigh and then just a little bit of a kind of quirky smile as she regards you. Belloryn, we're not evil. I want you to do what we ask you to. It is a simple equation. We need you. We need you, Belloryn, to not act always in your best interests, but in our wise interests.
Any insight I can glean into this?
Yeah,
Sort of
definitely.
an odd thing to say.
Yeah, roll that insight.
All right. That is 18.
So you do remember the Cathay telling
Yeah.
you that they went to extraordinary lengths to make you special, basically. You think it is, you have a hard time believing that they would have gone to such lengths just to make you a merchant.
do I have kind of an enforcer feel to it, or that there's sort of a conqueror?
Yeah, that's that's a really good question. You definitely have the insight that they have a plan for you, and it is unclear to you if that is a good thing or a not good thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow their direction, if you will become a tyrant or a liberator.
All right.
But you definitely have the impression that Daphne, she just wants you to comply. She just wants you to get on board.
Is there any liquid left in my drink?
Yeah, you've been
Okay.
sipping it.
I'm going to take a long draft and basically finish it. And say, the last few weeks I have learned a lot about acting in the interest of others. And I don't know why you made me the way I am, because I know the influence is there. You said yesterday, you and Father both said that I have a choice. And I understand what you want that choice to be. But at this point, even though I know is your belief that what you are, the direction you are pointing me in is your wisdom for me, I do not have informed consent. What is it that you want me to do? I can't make a decision if I don't know what the decision is.
She kind of nods and looks off and thinks for a little bit. Well, it is important that you give your wholehearted support and consent to what we want. It was not our wish to burden you with what that choice would entail just yet. We need you to trust us, Belloryn. What can we do to earn that trust?
I think for the time being, I need you to allow me and my friends to depart this place in peace. And I know you've given this decision a deadline, but I think you and I both know that there are things that I have to accomplish on my own before I even knew enough to be able to make that decision. Had I been asked a couple of days ago, and had I not seen what I saw at the mansion, you have to understand that I can't understand the value of enslaving other beings. I can't understand it. And And furthermore, I don't understand why if you wanted me to be involved in that business, if or why the principles that I have developed over the course of my education, not just at the academy, but at home school for many, many, many years, why it would come to all of this.
What all right. So let's lay that aside. So you say to earn your trust, we need to leave you and your friends to conduct your business. And when that is done, will you return to us and allow us to convince you of the righteousness of our ways?
When our business is concluded, I will return and allow you the opportunity to convince me. I can't guarantee that what you present to me that I will feel any differently than I do today, but I do know that my time since leaving the academy has changed me greatly. And what I am going to be is at the end of this path I've chosen. And that may be compatible with your ends and it may not be. But by that point, I think we will both be able to accept what is.
Belloryn, the path that we would set you on saves millions of lives. This is not our selfishness. We we want to help, but we cannot force you to help us. I have seen what lies down the path of forcing you, and it is blood and pain and sorrow. And we can't have that.
Now, have I inherited any of her skills at divination at all?
Um, I do not. Let me double check here.
She was some kind of oracle, if I remember correctly, from the other solo game.
That's what the Cathay told you.
Yeah.
Um, so no, you do not have any of those powers.
All right. Well, Mother, I believe that you can see some of the paths set before me. And I think you and I both know that at least for the time being that I have to follow my own path for a while. But I do pledge that when I have followed that path and when I have helped my friends to fulfill their own paths, I will return here and we will all three of us speak again. But until then, I won't stand in direct opposition to you. I don't see how, given who we are to each other and who I am, that I could lift arms against either of you, even though right now I disagree.
And we certainly don't want that on our end, Belloryn. So, a détente?
So be it.
Well, I will tell you, there is an Antillan, Abavan Kakarian, who is hiring mercenaries left, right, and center to go after your Tabaxi friend. I suspect you have until today around Indigo before they begin to converge on your friend. I'd hoped we could buy them off, but if you insist on going your own way, we will let you do so. Be aware that this Antillan will stop at nothing to get your friend, and has more than enough wealth to hire everybody on the rock to find her.
I understand. I also understand that her story has not ended, and that if you and Father don't oppose me, then I believe I can help them get off of the rock safely, so that all can continue their business as they see fit. I am not so naive as to not understand what the rock is, but I have come to know her and know what it could mean for the world if she is not allowed to be free.
All right. Well, you have to go your way. We will abide here. When you return, hopefully you can seek us out and we can have a longer discussion. I There's not much time. We have maybe a few months before you will have to agree to help us, or the consequences will be catastrophic.
I understand.
I'll tell Roger to put this meal on our tab. Please feel free to enjoy a nice breakfast. And when you return to the rock, please come by Wrestley and we will have a longer discussion.
Thank you, Mother.
Daphne stands up, nods at you, goes and talks to the maitre d', and heads out. They serve you whatever you would like for breakfast.
Mhm. Have a decent, not very rich breakfast, because I think chances are very good that I will be in battle sometime later today.
Okay. All right. So you've talked to your parents. You sought out the Cathay. What's Belloryn's next plan?
All right. Based on the plans earlier on, the rest of the party should be off ship by now, correct? They should be getting into
Yeah, they should be meeting Zyron at the Dancing Lady in just a little bit.
All right. So if I return to the ship, then I am extremely unlikely to meet any of them.
Correct.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is go back to the ship, get basically all kitted up for battle, and I want to try and position myself so that when the forces do come for Kita in particular, that I can cause a serious ruckus at just the right moment to allow for for a quick escape.
Okay. So yeah, so Daphne told you they're probably not going to get organized until Indigo. You do know that the plan was to break into the shareholder company building around Indigo. So do you want to join up with the group and try to participate in that endeavor, or do you want to kind of shadow them to wait and see until something goes on?
I want to shadow until something goes on, mainly because at this moment I feel like they need to be focused on the thing they've got to do,
Got it.
and since there's a time limit on that, even though they are kids and are going to want to rush after me, if the time limit on this closes in, they'll try to get the shareholder stuff done, and so I'll pretty good vantage points at the Rock of Baral, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll probably try to find some safe vantage point at the in the pavilion where the shareholder company is,
Okay.
and basically my I know at the very least Magic Missile has 120-foot um, range, and so that gives me a good lengthy shot if need be.
Yep.
And if and I have a decent enough stealth skill that if things start to get hairy and I need to get in close to just whack a group of them with Thunderwave and lead just a mad dash away from the fray, that I can possibly pull that off.
Okay. Awesome. Yep. That's great. I have a clear vision for what that looks like, what that entails. 4 hit points plus your con bonus. So you're gonna go up to 20. Uh, okay, let's do it based on your old constitution. So that's 6 hit points. So it's up to 28. And then in addition, because your con went up, you get 4 more. So you're up to 32 hit points,
32. Okay.
which is, yeah, it's a pretty substantial jump.
Yeah, that's pretty legit for a sorcerer.
Yes.
Um,
And then, yeah, all your dex skills go up.
yep. So now acrobatics is now +3 non-proficient, and then I am proficient in both sleight of hand and stealth.
Yep.
Those both go to +5, which
Yep.
is basically like rogue level.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Very cool. And then,
And sorcery points goes to 4.
yep.
Okay, and
Oh, you learn a new cantrip as well.
hey, okay.
Learn a new cantrip and a new spell other than a cantrip.
All right. All right, let's have a
And as a consequence of all this process, you regain your spell slots that you expended, but you gain a level of exhaustion. So, so you have disadvantage on ability checks,
got it. Okay,
at least for today.
sure. How long is it to Indigo?
You know, it's a while. So if you just wanted to
If
crash somewhere, you'd need to figure out where to go, though.
well, if I'm going to the if I'm going to the ship to get kitted up,
Yeah.
and they're already out on getting ready for their all of their stuff, if
Yeah, you could just
if
crash
I
on the
just
ship.
yeah, I just crash in
Yeah,
my room,
totally.
and am I able to get enough sleep to negate that
Yep.
exhaustion?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 8 hours as a complete rest, so that's just sleeping through orange and yellow.
And so that will, and then I'll still have time to get an appropriate sort of ambush vantage point.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
And a benefit of that is that they do not need me to be around to ask me a million questions today. They've got stuff they need to do,
Right.
and I will fill them in with um some omissions once we are clear,
Yeah.
because I think more of them won't want to go see the Cathay, and I want to impress upon them that that is an awful idea. That is something that none of them should do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because they might go before you wake up from your nap. So we'll see.